Ryback Show starts now. Welcome to the Ryback Show Sunday Live. I am the big guy, Ryback. Hoping everyone's having a great Sunday. Busy day for the big guy. And going to do the show, going to watch a little football here. But I want to thank everybody on TikTok, the big guy Ryback 22. We are not able to be streaming right now on Instagram. We reached out to them, and by we, I mean me, on the via the Facebook Messenger for the help, because I advertised through them and spend a lot of money. And they got back. They said they were going to fix the problem. They got back on an email, and they did not answer the questions and said there was nothing they could do, and they would not state, because we had the two posts. The two posts were two comedy posts that had nothing to do with like the pandemic or anything of that nature. Even though I will share stories, and there are other posts I have posted sporadically, not a lot, but those weren't flagged as community guideline violations. But they took two comedy posts. One was a gym post for Feed Me More Nutrition of a gym, of a pre-workout thing for like, and the other was the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger when they said run the fade, crack a motherfucker on the thing, and they flagged both of those for harassment and bullying, which they have tons of the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger thing all over. And I go, can you specifically tell me what part of it was harassment or bullying? And they go, we're not required to tell you what you did wrong. And then I said, well, if you guys would like the platform to be better and you're going to flag things for community violations and you want us to go read them, and I go, but then you flag a post for a specific reason. I said, and I go, that specific reason doesn't exist within the post. I said, why can't you explain exactly what it is? So I go, so users can go, okay, if this is a possibility of violating the guidelines based off the specific information they give me, I could make my post so that they don't violate the rules rather than give you these vague rules, right? But what they're doing is, in which they had no response for, is they do that to cover themselves so that they can just do whatever they want. And then they've shadow banned me. I'm not showing up on anything, and they've taken away the live streaming. How long that goes on, it could be a week, it could be 30 days. I don't know. So that's what I'm dealing with over there on that. It's not the first time that that's happened. But this is by far the worst they've ever suppressed my account. Nobody's seeing anything, not my stories, it's not my post. So it is what it is. But I thank everybody on TikTok, Ryback TV here on YouTube, Twitch, Ryback Rules, and Twitter at Ryback. As always, super chats on Ryback TV on YouTube are answered as seen on that. And if not, I try to get to the questions as I see them. This podcast is brought to you by Feed Me More Nutrition, my premium supplement line, sweetened with stevia and monk fruit, no artificial sweeteners or colors, vegan friendly, gluten free for men and women on feedmemore.com. All of the month of December, you get free shipping, no free domestic shipping on your orders, and a free Feed Me More Nutrition drawstring gym bag as a free gift when you select it, when it pops up there. So check that out, guys. We have 13 different supplements, multiple flavors, and the best tasting plant protein that your money could buy. And so check that out, feedmemore.com. We have a new member, TrueKing. Thank you very much for becoming a YouTube member. We've got another super chat here coming in. Let's see. Where are we? TrueKing, thank you very much, buddy. Are you going back to WWE? No, there's not anything. And I've talked about this before, and I've said, I go, if they are sold, and I believe the atmosphere is different, and when I'm ready to go back, and that's a possibility. I've got my legal stuff going on with the Ryback trademark. I've won everything. Feed Me More, the big guy, and outside of them suppressing my social media, I've won everything on this. And I'm going to win the Ryback trademark. there's stuff going on I can't talk about right now, and there's just things are very good regardless of some things going on that I'm going to win the Ryback trademark. Regardless of like whatever way this thing goes, I'm gonna end up with the trademark on that. And realistically a lot more when this and rightfully so with everything that's gone on and some stuff behind the scenes. But my goal, like I've said, is just get my shoulder where it needs. This has been um a tremendous journey of getting my health back and having 19 stem cell procedures. And we will see what the future holds when the time it's getting closer and closer. But I'm in a very good position in life, mentally, physically, and we'll see what the options are. And I've told you guys when I know that I have a date and I know I can go and I'm completely committed on that. I go, the phone will be picked up and that part will be taken care of. Until I get this part done, picking up the phone is irrelevant. And because it just a lot of people don't understand. There's been stuff that's up to this point, and it's like, well, if I don't have a date, you can't really talk about anything until you have a date and that and everything's right. So, and I'm just like I said with life, like I could never go back to wrestling and be completely content and fine for the rest of my life with everything that I have and going forward with the way everything's going. I want to go back because I have a lot of things I want to do still. And I've learned like with my health and the vegan lifestyle, and I feel like I have captured youth in a bottle for a very long time, and it's going to be great. But and I learned from the things that I did that were hurting me further wrestling not to do. Um, so we'll see what the future holds when that time comes. And it's for me, and I'm not too worried about what other people, the time frame, that in the timeline that other people expectations people have, because I know the work that I'm doing, and like I said, I'm just in such a good place. I know I've been protected and I know it's going to happen. And throughout my life, when I have these feelings that I just know, when I just know 100% of the time, it happens. And I just know. And I'll leave it at that. So, another super chat. We're just going to steal your money and block you. You don't even get your super chat answered if you're going to go that route, my bad. Shell shocked out of Rybackville. Thank you for the cash. That's the first time we had a really negative super chat with jeez. Rob, good to see you. Rob Mings, good to see you, bud. How often do you work out and do you keep the intensity at 100% at the gym? Yesterday was a 24-hour fast, no weights, no cardio, just let my body rest. I do that one day a week where nothing. Today is the other day off, but I did an hour and 20 minutes of cardio today after I got done running a bunch of errands and had to do some Christmas shopping, and and got home and did my hour and 20. And I'll take the dogs for about a 20-minute walk also. So it'll be about an hour and 40 of cardio today and just elliptical, no hard conditioning, nothing tough on the body. As far as weights, with that though, right now the schedule's pretty much been 4 really hard days with weights. And again, though, the intensity, even though if I'm going lighter, as far as lighter, and it's still heavy, but lighter than what I used to on certain things, I'm still doing, my 20 set workouts, legs 30 sets on top of the hard conditioning and really hard conditioning during the week with the Stairmaster and sprints and jump rope, throw battle rope and some of the mace things in there. I train very hard, but my conditioning is my main thing that I keep right now throughout all of this. That is better than ever. And like, because my body, the moment, and as I've been able to train heavier and heavier, my body just keeps getting better and better. And I've always stayed very close to what I was, even though it came down, because obviously, if you know, when wrestling in 290, 295, and it fluctuated my weight in WWE a bit just based off of the road schedule and food. And it was always, but usually always was in the 280s. Um, for the most part, and then low 290s for a bit here and there. But I was lifting, if I'm doing, 150-pound dumbbell presses every week, week in, week out, which I was. If they had 170s, I do 170s. It was when I trained very heavy all the time. Whereas now I'm not doing nowhere near that weight. The muscle tissue is not going to be as dense, right? Even though I'm training hard and doing a lot of sets, but I know though the moment that I'm able, and I'm not doing drugs, things that I can make up for that on that. So but my proportions stay the same, but it might just be like a 5-7 pound difference. That's going to be back like that, like within weeks. We'll say months just to not be conceited about it, but it comes back pretty quick. So, but I've stayed within striking distance of that, and I trained very hard. But again, it just depends. Whenever you have something though, when you're wrestling, if you have a big match coming up, you're going to be doing a longer match, or that you need your intensity and energy to be sky high. It's always, I think it can be, training can be more motivating, which I have to create that hunger and motivation. And I do. And I tell myself, I go, if I bitch out on this now, how am I going to turn it on later? Right. So I keep that in my head. That's always it saves me. It keeps me where I go, you've been out this long. You come back, you got to be better than ever. If you come back and embarrass yourself, it's done. And so that I always keep that in my head. And it's not to say it's done, but I keep that in my head. Don't go hard now so that the work's even easier later, if that makes sense. So great question. Yeah, vegan enthusiast for life. Yeah, I'm happy to hear you're being vegan, that you love being vegan. I can't see the full comment. I tried the Beyond Meat tenders and they're so damn good. Yeah, I actually I got them and tried them. I got to do a YouTube. I didn't film it. I had them for one of my meals the other day, and they were absolutely out of this world. So I got to do a video on those as well. And I will say, I like both the Gardein Ultimate chicken tenders, and the uh, Beyond Meat chicken tenders are both delicious. The Ultimate do have more protein per serving. I believe it's 15 grams to the Beyond Meat having 11, but they are both very, very good. So I need to do like a Super Bowl like video of the head to head, the Gardein Ultimate versus the Beyond Meat chicken tenders, so I could side by side compare them. And that might be actually a good video to do. Thank you. Hello, you rocked all my childhood. So thank you so much. Thank you very much, buddy. I always appreciate all the love and support. I think I missed a super chat here. Uh, hold on. TrueKing, thank you, buddy. If you go back, a chance go on Raw or SmackDown. If you go on Raw and you face Big E for the WWE Championship, or SmackDown face Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. I guess is that a question of who I would want to go back? I've wrestled both those guys many times, and I've wrestled Roman a lot more. I used to wrestle Roman uh, a lot when they were a part of the Shield, and we main evented a lot of buildings during that period. And Big E obviously is doing fantastic now. Both are fun. I enjoyed wrestling both guys. Big E didn't get to wrestle. We had quite a few matches, some live event matches, some shorter TV matches, and it was always a lot of fun. We never had a real program or anything like that, which I think would be. I think it would bring out the best in each other. He's a great guy. And he's fun to wrestle, and he gives everything he has out there. So as does Roman. Both would be great matchups. I think the thing would be the storyline and what the angle would be as far as was each one. Roman is an easy sell. That's a very easy angle to walk into, and with everything with our past on that. Big E, there's not as much there, so there would have to be definitely something that created, which would be very easy to do on that. So moving on, True King, another super chat. True King, your parents are going to be really mad at you tonight, spending all your money on the big guy. Are you beyond Raw or SmackDown? I don't. True King, I don't understand these. Am I beyond Raw or SmackDown? I don't know how to answer that. Those would be, if you go to WWE, those would be one of the two shows though that you would perform on. So we've got we're going to shell shock out of Rybackville here. Clean up this. There we go. Captain Buggy, I'm glad you're having a good time on the toilet. Always a good place to watch anything. Don't sit for too long. Your legs will go numb, and you will have you won't be able to feel your feet, and you do risk the possibility of falling and hitting your head and knocking yourself out unconscious, and somebody walking in finding you with not a very flattering situation. So be careful. Be careful. Jose says, "Would I be saving animals if I did go vegan?" I thought I'd ask out of the because I left a bit of a long comment in the chat. Absolutely, that's why the best thing individually each one of us could do, and by going to a plant-based diet, mainly vegan, is it reduces the demand from where we normally would go, what we normally would consume, and the more people that do that, that demand lowers, and then the factory farms when that demand and that so when there's if there are a just to do extreme numbers, if there are 500,000 people in a city going to fast food restaurants and in the stores and buying animal products religiously, and 250,000 of those people become vegans, that demand is now dropped by half in that particular area, right? So when that happens everywhere, and again, these are high numbers, just to give an example, but that demand lowers, and less animals are needed, less animals are reproduced over time, and the demand goes down with that. So you are saving lives with each one. And when we continue to do it and we go, oh, our individual efforts don't really make it's just me. Well, it's just you times billions of people, right? So that's where you say the best thing we could do individually is by when we make that decision is we are saving lives. And that adds up individually. And I don't know what it depends on your consumption and where though that I can tell you though, like when we eat a bucket of chicken wings, that how many chickens have to be killed though to get those amount of chicken wings? Like it's and I remember reading some statistics on it, and you're just like, oh, just that it sucks, But I think that's part of when you make I look at things too from a performance standpoint, and but once I became really aware and opened myself up to the animal standpoint, it made it a no brainer on that, and it makes it a lot easier. And I think people that have that do it for the animals, and there's some people that just solely do it for the animals, and then there's people like me. I'm like very performance based. Once I saw that it helps my performance and I could build more muscle, have better endurance, have better blood flow, stay younger longer. I go, all the inflammation in my body just goes away. I feel better. I'm not sore. I'm not tight. It just made perfect sense. And then I go, oh, this is how we're treating animals. And I'm not against the idea. I go, at different points in time in civilizations, and that that hunting for survival, and that was an entirely different thing, and that time and place, and them not knowing, and there were a lot of places that were vegan and plant based, and they lived longer, but that did exist, but we're not doing that at a mass level, and That's the problem with factory farming and the fishing. And if you watch Seaspiracy, we're destroying our planet, we're destroying our oceans, where we are going to have no future. We are in where we're getting very close to the point of no return. Um, and that's because of our individual decisions based off of what these big companies and corporations are doing to meet the demand, because it's just profit, profit, profit. But that's where the lab grown meat and things are going to change um, very soon, I believe, very soon, sooner rather than later on all of this. And I always think meat and chicken and fish is always going to be here and exist, but the methods that we are using to do it are going to change. Good to see all of you. Appreciate everybody over on TikTok. Thank you for joining. Joining. Thought I was gonna have to burp there, and I didn't. Hello, hello. Let's see. All right, we're gonna have to shell shock another jabroni out of Rybackville. If you could shell shock one female wrestler, who would it be and why? I don't. I'm not even. Never once have I thought about that. I'm assuming I actually know what you mean by that, and neither answer is going to be good to talk about. Was it hard to shell shock the Big Show? No, not at all. He's very very good with his body weight. He is a great athlete, even despite all his injuries. And when Big Show, when Paul wants to go, he can go. And he was always a pleasure to wrestle. And we he I always loved him. He's one of my favorite people to wrestle because it just the he's so over either whether he's heel or babyface. Um, and it makes working him easy because he's an attraction in itself. And when picking him up, it guaranteed explosion, and nobody else all night is going to do anything that people are going to like remember picking up a giant and shell shocking a giant, right? It's a memory that people are going to remember. And I was always grateful to get to when I got to wrestle him for that, and I always knew he was always very easy. And I say very easy in the context of like, of course, he's a giant, enormous human being. He's just so good with his weight and everything, and balance. He's very balanced. That's a good word. He has good balance. Super chat. Hulk, hey buddy, how you doing? Hey big guy. In an effort to stay healthy, especially with COVID, I've been taking 5,000 IU of D3 a day. Are there any other specific vitamins you would recommend? Yeah, I know they talk about zinc as well with that, but you're doing the right thing taking the D3. And we have our kick out immune system support, which vitamin C, echinacea, has astragalus. Allicin is what is an ingredient in garlic. And in consuming allicin has been my secret weapon with vitamin C in the formula in kick out since I was in WWE and since 2013, I believe, when I got really, really sick, and that's where I was like, I got to come up with something for my immune system, and that's where I developed that formula for Kickout actually, and haven't been sick since in that time with that. But that would be very beneficial. Not saying you have to go buy the Kickout formula, but I do think adding a vitamin C and allicin, specifically those two, which were both of those in very, very ample amounts in the Kickout immune system support will be beneficial for your immune system. But if you're consuming fruits and vegetables and you have a very balanced diet, you're going to be consuming a lot of those nutrients and those vitamins um, throughout the day as well. So it's very easy to get that without buying a supplement. Also, I always think it is good to like, and I take a supplement regardless, just so in case you're not getting sufficient levels, because you have to be very knowledgeable on your food to know to make sure and eat very consistently to make sure you're getting those nutrients and keep your processed food levels down. But those would be what I would add in. with it? Great question. What's good for strong bones? Jake, good to see you, my man. Thank you for stopping by tonight. Uh, what's good for strong bones? Calcium and consuming and not calcium, staying away from dairy and the milk with all that, and whole food calcium. You can take a whole food calcium supplement as well. There's some really good ones out there. If not consuming, there's a lot of plant-based foods. And there's something else that's really, really high in calcium that's vegan. Moringa actually is. I take a moringa capsules. You could grow moringa. I'm gonna try to get a tree next year actually, and see how it does out here. But moringa is a super nutrient. Has the levels of calcium it has is quite high. And that I take a organic moringa formula, which we're coming out with our Gorilla Gas, which will have moringa in it as well for Feed Me More Nutrition. I did see the fight last night. Somebody I did not pay for the last one. Thank you, Josie Wells, for the super chat donation. Thank you, thank you. I did. I caught somebody was streaming it on TikTok, and it popped up on my thing on my For You page, and I go sweet because I did want to see the thing. I just after paying for the first one, I go I'm not paying for another one on that because I order quite a bit of fights and wrestling pay-per-views, and that was and I go I wouldn't mind, but if they would have had more appealing fights on the undercard, I might have done it. Um, but just with this and not knowing, but I got to see it, and I tell you that knockout was the fight up to that point was not anything exciting. It was actually pretty frustrating. They were getting booed quite regularly from the crowd, and I don't always agree with crowds booing, especially MMA when fighters are really when they have a specific strategy, and then the crowd, but they want it to be more exciting. But with boxing, when guys are hugging a lot, and they were hugging a lot on that, but that knockout was I don't care that was an intense knockout with that and that knockout is what people are talking about for the most part, not the rest of the fight. So, but it was, and I'll never like hate on any of those guys doing that stuff. And my only thing is you heard all these rumors about like are there no knockout clauses or the fights rigged and whatnot. I don't. I think that, and I think Jake is actually really good. And what he does is he keeps people talking about him. And I think that if you saw there was a segment where he recorded giving Woodley the Rolex. So what does that instantly do? You got to look at that and go, why did they record that? I'll tell you why they recorded that. They recorded that because he knew that they're going to get people saying now the fight is rigged or he's softening them up and he's like, but it generates conversation on the fight, right? And he's doing that through various ways. And then he's going out there and he's fighting MMA guys. That gets people upset because he's fighting MMA guys and winning in boxing matches that he's training very hard for with that. But people are, oh, he needs to fight real boxers. He needs to fight real boxers. If I were him, I would never touch a real boxer as long as you can keep this thing growing. Because what it's doing is he's creating people that do like him for what he's doing, as well as all the people that hate him because they're so mad that this guy that's only had 4 professional fights or 4 fights hasn't fought anybody that you know what I'm saying? So he is working everybody from all angles. And at the end of the day, he's going out and winning. So he's doing a very good job at getting people to just keep talking, and it's making him more and more money. And he's going out, like I said, and winning. So all he doesn't need to listen to anybody. He just keep picking who he wants, and he's getting those guys are making more money than they're making fighting over in the UFC. So I think it's a cool thing to watch play out with that. And that's not to say like I didn't buy the one last night because I think they do need to make sure they have a strong undercard when they do these things as well. And I didn't think it was as strong as it could have been. Super chat Joe Mayers. Thank you, buddy. What's your favorite thing to do in Vegas for locals? Love you, big guy. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna be going to the mountains this week and go sledding and probably get some food and some drinks at the at up in Mount Charleston. I think that's a good wintertime activity, definitely, because a lot of people associate Vegas with the desert and the casinos and the gambling and the prostitutes and everything in Vegas, right? Or whatever the whole deal. That not far from where I'm at is Mount Charleston, where it snows all winter and or for the majority of winter, and it's a fun time up there. So that's always something in the winter. Um, as far as summer, I don't. I've been to shows all throughout the years. I don't go out a lot in Vegas, especially now. I'm about 35 minutes away from the strip, and with the way the traffic is, it could be even longer. I don't do a whole lot outside of go eat at vegan restaurants for my feeding time, or if I go out to eat and go on a date or something. Um, but I mean, there's a million things to do here. People do go the helicopter rides, they go shooting, they've got escape rooms. I've seen those. There's a lot of new things here that I haven't done that I think at some point I will go do. Um, so I just think it's when you if you get coming to Vegas, you get a cab driver, or you go whatever hotel you go to. I think if you or if you just Google things to do in Las Vegas as a visitor, you're going to have more options than any other city probably. So, and there's a ton of things I don't even know about. It's grown. You got the Knights playing, you got hockey games, and I mean there's shows, countless shows going on. Um, and like you can you could stay at the hotel and just get hammered and have a good time depending on what hotel you stay at. So which a lot of people do. Like you go to the MGM and like you got a nightclub in there. I've seen people and chicks that come into town. They go and they stay at the MGM. They don't leave the MGM. They get so wasted their first night, they're completely just completely incapable of doing anything the next day. And then like the last day, they like go lie by the pool or something. Like then they go home. So it just depends how long and what you're. If you go, you can go to the vegan restaurants I go to, the Modern Vegan, Cafe No Fur. There's a lot of places, Garden Grill, tons of them. There's to check out. Calling all marks. Yes, this is a good question. As a father of two with not a lot of time, are there any routes one could take naturally to get satisfactory results? I have 30-pound dumbbells. Let me get that question back. I have 30-pound dumbbells. I'll never get big guy jacked, but I need tips for growth. Yeah, so this comes down to time management. And I don't know, obviously, your full schedule. I would imagine, having two kids and depending on the age is a lot of work, right? And depending on if you're married or if you have help, don't have help. So what you have to do is you have to take an honest look at your schedule and when you would be able to, how much time. I would think if you can get it, man, even if you had just 30 minutes a day, but say you can do maybe say you can get an hour in, my man, you have so much time. And what I would do is go to Pinterest and get body weight workouts for at home with different things, with push-ups, Hindu squats, crunches. There's so many variations you could use to do that. You could be in absolute kick-ass shape if your diet is great and doing home workouts. You got to remember, before we had what we know as modern gyms, people didn't have what we have with that. And you could build muscle and and there's everything works and nothing works. And by that, anything we do will work if we just stimulate muscle growth through resistance, however that is possible. And if you're doing body weight, you're doing higher reps, shorter rest periods. And I'm telling you, man, sure, you're not going to be able to build the thick muscle thickness and density that if you had all the weights in the world and squatting 500 pounds and benching 400 or 500 pounds, right? It's not going to be exactly that, but you can be absolutely in kick ass shape. You just got to literally see how many days a week you can do it, how much time you have, And then where it comes down to, it's time management and motivation. How bad do you want to do it? How much of a priority is it to you to be in shape? And that's where you got to get that inner hunger. And I talk about that hungry mindset. It has to become important for you to do it. And you have to understand, you got to put something in your head that that is a necessary part of your day. And what I would do is I would know, and I know this through experience, it helps me mentally and physically because it releases endorphins. You're going to feel better. So by putting that into your day, and I would put it on the front part of your day because it relieves stress that you got it done early, and it creates a momentum for the rest of your day. Now, if you can't do that, that's fine. You just got to make sure that you have it timed and you have the energy, or that you take something pre-workout at a certain point before so that you're not tired, or a coffee, something with that. But also look at it, and go, hey, I have 2 kids. I want to be around when I'm older. I want to be in their lives as long as possible. I know that by investing in myself right now and for the rest of my life and my health and wellness, mentally and physically, that it gives me better odds of being around for my kids longer. And so once that becomes a priority for you, right, then you make better decisions. And that's where I just think time management and motivation, man. And go to Pinterest and look. We on the Feed Me More Nutrition account on there. And there's so many great at-home workouts that you could find and start piecing it together. If you can only do 30 to 45 minutes, man, just throw it in there. Even if you can only do 20 minutes, I'm telling you, if you did burpees for 20 minutes and just took little breaks, you're going to feel like you're going to feel like you achieved something. And that's getting a total body workout. And you're working on your conditioning. So that's where you got to, it just has to look at the Pinterest workouts and see what you could do. And it will start triggering some ideas based off of your goals and what you want to do. If it's just, like I said, to be a little healthier and be in a little better shape, doing short rest, high rep, doing things like burpees and things. If you can get a jump rope, or you got 30-pound dumbbells. So, I mean, you could be doing floor bench press, you could be doing curls, you could be doing tricep stuff. There's so many things that you could do if you start getting creative with it, and it's like I said, just go and look at anything is better than nothing. Yes, Ryback, the red nosed big guy. I still got the red nose, slightly. From putting that cream on, it's been 2 weeks and 2 days. It put a hole in my nose, and, it is luckily healing, and I'm using some scar cream on it as well, I got lucky with this because it was I put I told you I got too much of that cream for a skin. I had a little tiny little thing that looked like a skin tag that has worked on a couple other areas. And I believe though with the nose and having the cartilage in there, that and I got too much of it on my nose with the toothpick, and it may have left it on actually a minute or two too long. Also, there are a couple factors, because my phone rang and I call when I had it on, and it was a short call, but it had it on a little longer. So, but it is healing, so it looks a million times better than it did. Luckily, have a good night, buddy. I'm older with 8 kids and missing my legs. I'm trying to get jacked to piss off my ex. Best body weight exercises to get big results. I don't know if that's a real message or not, but I would literally Google upper body exercises for people with no legs, and I guarantee you, you're gonna meet a lot of people just like you, and there's probably a lot of Pinterest like things on Pinterest as well. Legit. I don't know what the hell who that person. We got some weird people in here tonight. Let me see if I missed a super chat. It wasn't pulling up on the thing. Okay, let's see. Got it. Found it, bud. Michael Maranti. Thank you for the super chat. Am I burning a lot more belly fat with the stair climber than if I keep running on the treadmill? Thoughts on sled pushes? So again, burning body fat is depends on your genetics and how we all store fat and burn fat a little differently. As far as we have stubborn areas, some that typically is the last areas you will burn body fat. Um, I do believe I do believe doing different forms of cardio though increases your metabolism better depending on how hard you're working. I believe those two, the Stairmaster and sprints, are two of the best ways at really ramping up your metabolism through cardio. And I really, 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 I love both. And again, but treadmill could be if you're doing that a lot, can be very hard on your joints. And depending on what shape you're in and everything, stairmaster can also with people if you have bad knees and you're walking can be difficult for you as well, right? So and again, it doesn't give me I don't have any issues with that. Um, but it depends on how hard you're working with that. But I think both are as far as not doing the stairs isn't going to be like that. Your body doesn't like no. Hey, I'm doing the stairmaster. Let's just burn body fat from the stomach, or vice versa with the treadmill. It doesn't operate like that. You need that you burn body fat based off again like genetics on and where you know typically if you have huge love handles that's typically the last place that the body fat comes off of as far as quickly as it might in other areas, right? So it's just you could do things though, and you could take a fat burner with it and something, or like moringa powder or capsules are also very good. Matcha green tea. There's these things that can help improve your metabolism, and there are certain things that do show. I do believe it's matcha with that show that to can help increase burning body fat more efficiently. In certain, there's something that with the stomach as well on that, but not from cardio with that. It's just, that's going to help you burn that belly fat over time, and you got to do that consistently with a good diet, if that makes sense. The best thing too, a lot of people, and a lot of times the people that have the the belly fat and things, cleaning up your diet and learning nutrition and ditching the processed foods, you will start just you will be amazed at how the weight falls off. And it's because you're eating it's pretty much all the time. It's not it's no it's coming from a horrible diet and eating very calorie dense foods over and over and over again. And while you may not think you're eating a lot, eating the processed foods you're eating way more than you need. And if you switch over to a plant-based diet and doing more vegetables and select fruits at the right times, you're going to be amazed at what happens with your body and how great you feel. Hello, hello. If you're working out in your garage gym, I got one of those infrared heaters. You can get one on Amazon for a good price. That thing is the best thing I have. It keeps my gym where I am sweating my ass off because it turns into like an infrared sauna in there, especially when you leave it on for a while before you go work out in there. And I would highly recommend they have these infrared heaters on Amazon, and there's different ones. The one I have is it might have been $100 and something dollars, and it's just a little tiny unit. That thing is kick ass. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. I hope you have a Merry Christmas too. Thank you. William, good to see you, buddy. William Schaefer. Did you see the Dr. Peter McCullough Joe Rogan podcast? I did listen to the whole thing, and I've seen a lot of the clips, but I listened to the whole thing over the course of 2 days uh, this past week, and yeah, everything that pretty much have thought from the beginning and knew from reading some different books and things prior, and it's I think hopefully more and more people give that a listen. It's really unfortunate the amount of hate Joe Rogan has gotten. Joe has massive love, first of all, but again, a lot of that came from CNN and the news had targeted him because he has such a massive platform and reach, and they can't stop him because he works for himself. And if anything happens to his stuff, it's going to be very noticeable that he's being suppressed. And he's just at a level where he can't be touched as far as in the eye of what he's doing and on his show, and it's like if he would have conducted that interview and posted it on YouTube or anywhere else on social media, they would have taken it down. And I think everyone needs to go give it a listen. And, Joe, man, he's one of the best podcasters in the game because he's very fair. He asks great questions, and he allows people to speak. And not to say that you're not going to have different opinions than him on things, but he has great guests. And that one is something that is very worthwhile to listen to. And unfortunately, you're going to have those people out there that they have that want to just stick in their thoughts what they want to believe, where they won't even give it a chance, and that's an unfortunate thing. But I think more and more people are waking up to everything, and um, it's going to be, especially too, with everything with the new variant being much weaker and not being a threat. And I've heard different other doctors saying that this is over, and but that's gonna come from the top and how the news and the government, right, and everything. So we just got to wait and see. Um, but it's I think it was a fantastic episode. Thank you very much, Naros Mika. Thank you, thank you. Joe is not fair when it comes to vegan. And I haven't heard a lot of him on as far as that. I know he's very pro meat carnivore diet and hunting, right? And quality. And but Joe, I've heard Joe talk up that he thinks factory farming is a huge issue. And I think though, and this is coming from one of the biggest meat eaters like, I've never met anyone in my life that ate as much meat and red meat as me in my whole life. And I've been around some giant people with that who would just be like, "You're eating that," and that would be like, "Yeah, this is just one meal." And obviously when but you see, I fully went in. I don't think Joe's fully went in, and Joe, and it's I think I've seen the performance benefits of it to where I already know, and the things that I saw that people talked about, and like I had that confirmed very quickly with myself. And I do believe though, and from like the different books, the proof is of the plants. They talk about even in that if you have an 85% plant-based diet and the other 15% is animal products, that you can reap the rewards of a vegan lifestyle. Then it just comes down to, I think, if you go full vegan though, you just fully I think you get that from a performance aspect. I think every little bit matters on that. But then they have the whole animal aspect of once you become aware of that. And it's really just finding moving to a loving, compassionate place where, yes, we can kill something if we needed to survive, but we don't need to. And we could actually thrive without it. And there's negative health consequences if we overconsume this stuff, especially with everything they're doing with the factory farming. But that's not to say, and I've said this, that if I had my own chickens in the backyard and occasionally decided to have some eggs and nothing was being harmed in the process of that, right? That is a hell of a lot different than what we're currently doing and how we typically get our eggs. But also, it's not doing it all the time. What if it was just a 2 or 3 time a year thing, right? Very, very different. But we're over consuming, and I just think Joe hasn't. I think he hasn't had the right person to have the conversation with that is thriving and has it really figured out. I think a lot of vegans and people see, and they're smaller, but they're smaller people anyways, because it's all a matter of, and like I'm very good at figuring out things. I go, okay, I know I need this amount of protein to build muscle. I learned about the complete proteins and then learned all the myths and the facts. on that, I go, okay, this is very easy. And I'm now succeeding with this diet like I have other diets with that. But I know enough about how my body and what I need and putting in the work. And so, but it's that's why I just think there's people have different. He has more of the mindset where he hasn't, where it's like, well, he chooses to go hunt his animals, and it's more of it's like this is from if you, whatever you want to look up throughout the history of time, where that you had to hunters and gatherers, where if you like, it's what you're just doing that all the time though. But my thing is, if that was a thing and it was very sparingly added into a heavily plant based diet, that's a little different, right? But it's there's different mindsets on it. And but again, the one thing that we do have a problem is our current systems are destroying the planet and causing a lot of suffering. And again, I think as humans, we are here, we have the ability to love and to protect. And that is our duty and responsibility and like it should be just we should have an obligation to want to do that. And unfortunately, and so many of us do, and but we're not taught that at a young age because we're not. But I think once you go vegan and you really realize, you go, man, we can be so much better, feel better, do better. That you just opens you up to a more compassionate view of life and respecting life, with that. And that's not to say that death is a part of life and whatnot, but like the way that we are choosing to do things and cause and torture and suffer and destroy our planet, we're getting all the signs that are telling us this is not the way to do it. And a lot of people have woken up to that. And hopefully, and I'm telling you, we're going to look back and we're going to be looked back and we will be frowned upon by the future at some point for how we lived really these last 30 years. Yeah, fall dieting. I've seen the one with James Wilkes. James absolutely destroyed that guy with nothing but facts. And James, like we follow each other on IG. He's I really really have a lot of respect for him. Very 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 intelligent guy that did his homework. And he opened me up with that movie on the conditioning aspect. And I know he's not BSing because I've seen the same results of making the switch and seeing my endurance just skyrocket and blood flow improve. That I'm just like, this is the only way to eat. And once you figure that out, but it's again getting people to make that commitment and then actually getting the proof based off their lifestyle. I appreciate all the love and support over on TikTok. Did I miss a super chat? Jose, yeah. So one of my sisters said you can't save animals by going vegan. Can you prove her wrong, big guy? What animals is she referring to? Yeah, Walter, that was I ate a lot during that Tough Enough, and that was one of the common. They wanted that was also for TV where they would record me eating. So it was also me acting a little bit on that, and doing things to make the show a little more entertaining behind the scenes. Hulk, good super chat. Do you have any thoughts on Jocko Willink? I've honestly never heard of that name. I don't know if maybe if I saw a video or something, I maybe have seen something with him. He's the reason I changed my sleep schedule. Wake up at 4 a.m. to exercise, then my whole day is open. Yeah, and so I'm assuming without knowing anything, it's time management once again. And the guys like Grant Cardone and different people talk about this in some of their stuff. But it's getting to bed, and this is what I do. I go to bed much earlier now because, especially at being out of WWE, because I was always on the road. I was couldn't go to bed until you're driving after a late show, depending on when you're at the show, you're sometimes not getting out of arenas till 11 something at night. Like it was crazy where you have 3 to 5 hour drives. So that schedule was just chaotic as all hell. But since being home and having a routine and structure in my business, and you getting up early and having a routine, and that routine can change depending on what you're doing and what you got going on. But by putting you have a schedule where the physical activity is where you prefer putting it in the front part of your morning or your day before you're too busy and things like that, or if you have to go to work all day. That is one of the best things you could do on doing that. But see, I don't believe there's just you get up, and I like to prefer I get up early and I do all my stuff. I like to have a couple meals in me. I like, especially with my hard conditioning, I like to have my carb stores, full. But also, I do my rehab stuff. I do routines at different points. So I like to do my training in the afternoon. I though when I was on the road wrestling, that would be one of the things you get up, eat, go to the gym. It was always the first thing to get it out of the way with that. But it's having a routine and time management and going to bed, and not because a lot of people lose hours at night, and that is where you don't do anything of where you're getting any doing anything productive. And it's okay to like relax and shut down, and that there's it's all balance. It's all right subjective. There's no one right way. But like if we really are striving to do something and we have goals, and it's very important to have time management and go, okay, I need to get to bed by before 10 because I want to get up, at 5, or I want to get to bed by 9:30 because I want to get up at 4:30 today, and I want to get this amount of sleep. And that's where like I said, the GTS go to sleep aid that I have, I always take it around 9 o'clock, or when it gets to that point at night, sometimes 8 something, because I know I want to be to sleep at a certain point, and it helps me get tired and go lie down and go to bed with that. Whereas if I don't, you have energy and like, but that comes in not consuming caffeine too late in the day. And but that's making conscious good decisions and time management and having some sort of routine. A routine will never be a bad thing. And it allows you to have success. So that's why I'll look that guy up though, because it sounds like that's somebody I would enjoy listening to. Thank you, thank you. We're gonna have to. It appears we have. I apologize. Get to the super chat. We are getting hit with a bit of spam. What I'm going to do is remove the Twitch. Thank you, everybody on Twitch. We're going to go ahead and remove that from the stream so that we can get rid of those people. All right, Twitch is gone, so those chats will not be able to continue on. We've got a super chat. Michael Moranti, thank you, buddy. I live in New York. I drive by McDonald's. I drove by McDonald's and Taco Bell today. Lines were 50 cars deep. Walmart shoppers getting fatter and fatter. This country is effed. No, so again, you just there's going to be people out there that are doing that and making those decisions, and we can't control that, right? Like it's those people there's a lot of people, but that's who in the media and a lot of the stuff that's going on are playing to a very large part of our population with that. And where it's you have people that have grown up on processed food that have taught their kids that this is the way to eat on processed foods, and where we are living in crazyville when we look at people and discourage them from eating fruits and vegetables. How is that even remotely frowned upon? But we have created that culture. Whereas, like, you eat fruits and vegetables, yeah, that's the food packed with all the micronutrients that you're not getting with all the processed food, which I've told you guys, it's so much bigger than macronutrients. It is micronutrients. It is the micronutrients that are contained in the macronutrients that is such a huge part of all of this that we cannot ignore. So, yeah, you got your kid on Pop Tarts and noodles. You need to completely take that away, and or leave it as a once a week thing as a treat, and have them understand that and create balance. And you are only creating problems doing that, and you're that is not being a good parent. And you could sit there and say, "Well, I think I'm being a good parent." You're not being a good parent. I think it's lazy, and you need to be better, and be better for your kid, and give them a chance to succeed. How relevant will wrestling be in 20 or 30 years? Who knows, man? I can tell you, I'm not going to think about that outside of this question, because it's not, things change, and I think the technology and I think people have more options than ever. I've said I think wrestling needs to be very edgy in the sense of this. I put a tweet out this past week, and I'm going to explain what I meant by the tweets. And it's not saying, I said essentially like that having friends in wrestling isn't good for wrestling. And what I mean by that, if everybody's buddy buddy with that, and everybody wants to, like, when you're friends with everybody, you don't get too personal. The wrestling business is the conflict business. It's the fight business. You need to be able to, you have to take shots at each other, right? You have to be willing to do that. And you got guys, it's tit for tat, but you also have to be a smart enough wrestler, worker, to know your role in a given angle, and to know if you got to let the baby face get the better of you and when to back off, right? There has to be an element of that as well. But when everybody's buddy buddy, then you're going to have friends. This isn't saying you can't be friends with anybody, but I'm just saying as a whole, the business needs to get back to the point of, no, we need to go out there, and if we are selling, we are in the fight business. We are now competing against the real fight business. So we have to be even edgier in our promos and our talking segments. That's what's going to give us the edge against the other guys. But unfortunately, and we're seeing little glimpses with some people, you got to get, overall, it needs to get way more personal, in my opinion. And that's just my opinion. And as far as keeping the interest, but but if you're buddy buddies with people and you're worried, you can't be worried about offending people. And the people that are successful, the Conor McGregors, the Jake Pauls, these guys are not worried about offending people, and they're making the most money, and they're creating the most interest in their fights. That can happen on the pro wrestling level if, as a whole, the culture goes to, this is what we need to do. But if you have everyone, was that okay what I said out there? I didn't go too far, did I? You can't have that. If you have that, it's not interesting. It's not what people, right? So, and that's why, like, MJF, with the thing with MJF, I have no issue with MJF. I know it came from Punk already, but I'm okay with all that. But I'm going to also fire back my shots, which I did, I think it's better. And I can give two shits if he likes me. I don't care what Phil thinks. I never have. I never will. I promise you that. But like, and I don't care what MJF thinks. I never have. I never will. But I guarantee you, we can make a lot of money if we both have that mentality. And if everybody has that, well, I don't care what he thinks about me in the back, or I don't care what they're going to go say online. Now, if the people want to get and start hating and do that, I block and move on. But I'll never do that with the people I'm working with and have business with. But that has to be the mindset overall with it. And when everybody wants to just, that needs to get back. And I think that the interest can go to all time highs if you can get that reality infused within the business. Hulk, I'm not. I don't have. I won't. I refuse to answer the Mount Rushmore question. I'm not. I don't have one. That I don't. I don't even. I just don't. I don't even. I think there's too many greats, and I think it's offensive to how many greats there have been in the business and their contributions. So what I'm going to do. This is a question before we wrap up today's show, Aaron. I'm going to leave you up here for a second. I'm going to invite you to have a conversation with me, Aaron, publicly, so that we could. I'm going to put the link. Aaron, go ahead and hop in on the chat real quick, bud. You can come in here and we can discuss this real quick before we wrap up this week's show. We'll see if Aaron pops in before we close. Little guy and Sophie are with the mother. I got to go take them on their walk shortly. Man, what a Twitch had some real jerks in there today. That's the bad thing about Twitch. Twitch doesn't allow me to block the people. So if we get people that want to try to ruin the show, I got to just shut off the link to Twitch. Aaron, if you want to just come in, click the link up here. I put it and I'm going to post it again, Aaron. If I just want you to have a conversation with me, and that way everyone can see it, and I'll give you a very fair opportunity and chance to speak on it. You don't got to clean up or anything. Just come on in. Nobody's going to judge you with if you got a weird mask on. I've had people that come in that are wearing weird masks at times, but every once in a while, it's good to have a one-on-one with a fan for everybody to hear. Tony Lopez shell shock them trolls right back. Yeah, that's the best of it. It's I go to do it, and it's like a 5-year-old, and then it's like that completely changes the whole. Aaron, what are you doing? Come on, Aaron. You're delaying. I gotta get stuff done here. I did not see the whole Packers game. I saw a little bit before I had to run, but or when I saw it a little bit when I got home before I went and did my cardio. They and I've got the Tampa game on. I'm going to go watch some of that as well. I'm polling. I really want a Bucks Patriots Super Bowl. I think the Packers are playing great football right now. They're going to definitely. This is going to. Tampa Bay does not have an easy road to the Super Bowl. I mean, this year, even though they're playing phenomenal football, there's some teams that are really they're turning it on as the season's coming to an end here soon. But that's what makes football so great, man. But I enjoy it. I like Tom, man, just keeps you just like you think like at some point, but it just keeps getting better and better. Yeah, Aaron's not doing it tonight. I apologize for everybody. But with that, guys, he'll probably pop in as I'm wrapping up the show. I appreciate all of you guys listening and tuning in as always. I'll hopefully try to be back tomorrow for a Monday live. Check out my Feed Me More Nutrition on feedmemore.com. Free domestic shipping all of December. Free Feed Me More Nutrition drawstring gym bag. And I appreciate all of you with the super chats for tonight. Have a great evening. Enjoy a little pro football. And until next time, my friends, stay hungry. Feed me more.